everyone, how are you today? So welcome to our midweek inspiration. This is what we've decided to be doing, come to you every Wednesday evening and just inspire you to grow. So you know what we represent, what we say here at Joyfido International, which we are going to be changing very soon to Joyfido Network, because there's a lot coming your way from us. Joyfido Network is going to be focusing, like we always do, support you to grow. That's really what we're trying to work on. So we say question everything. So everything that's happening around you, question it. Why? So as to empower yourself, inspire yourself to success. But of course, question everything to empower yourself, okay? Because once you question things, you become wiser, you become more knowledgeable, you become more informed. And this is why we read a lot of books, because it gives us a lot of knowledge. I mean, this is one of the things I was saying to my kids. Each time you read a book, it's as if you're having a personal discussion with the author of this book, and it's as if he's sharing his personal experiences with you directly. So it's like you're having a conversation, both of you. So that's the kind of message we want to share with you. The various books we've read and the way it inspired our life, empowered us to become better. So what's our topic today? Well, trying to inspire ourselves, because when I say these things, it's not about me just sharing things with you. It's about sharing things that I'm actually working on as well, things that are making a difference in my life. And so instead of just experiencing them and moving on, I experience them and share them with you, so that way we all grow together. So today's topic is called Enjoy the Simple Things of Life. Enjoy the simple things of life. And this came out of so many things that's happening, especially with the lockdown. With the lockdown and the COVID and the realization of the major thing that became the death of George Floyd, leading to the Black Lives Matter revolution or movement, and bringing out this major thing of racism that's been hidden at the back of people's minds. And so many people have come out openly to speak about their experiences. And so the awareness in people's mind now, it's really huge. So a lot of things have been exposed because of all that's happened in this 2020. So we need to find ways of dealing with these issues that's right now in our fall, or things that's become too visible that we cannot pretend it didn't happen anymore. So I had to come up with this thing that I was thinking about to myself. We have to find a way to get back to life again. To be happy again, to be normal people. Because if we look around us, if we look around the things, or look around and see what's happening around us, it is quite disturbing. And what is causing is a lot of disillusionment. It's caused so many, how do I put it? It's caused so much confusion that people are really getting lost. They have no idea what they are trying to achieve anymore. And so we have to find a way to get back to who we were, or who we want to be. And this particular one became my answer. And most times when I say I find an answer, it's not just because I'm so smart or so intelligent or so wise. The idea just hits me, which I know, we all do, which I always say to everybody on this channel. God speaks to all of us, and it comes to us in various forms. So it could come to us through someone speaking to you like I'm speaking now. It could come through a friend, it could come through an event, it could come through a book you read, or a song you heard, or a poem or watching the news and something just hits. So all of those are various ways that God speaks to us. And I got to realize that when I read that book, Conversations with God. So he says he's always with us. And he's always telling us things. But what happens is, if you're not fine-tuned to hear these things as they come, you may just think, oh no, I never hear God. So many people say that to me. I never hear God speaking, but I know God is speaking to every one of us. And so when I find answers to things, I just know he's giving me an answer. And this was just one of them. So how did this happen? We had to take a trip recently. We took a trip to another city here in the UK, Newcastle. And because we just got a car into the country, and we needed to go pick it up from the port. And we had to spend the night there. But I tell you what happened. We went by train, because most times when we travel, we always driving down to various places. We just enjoy driving. So we drive down to really far away places. Like we traveled from where we used to live in Southend to Glasgow. That took about 8 hours driving. We traveled all the way to Milan, and that was like, we had to go through 2 different countries, France, Switzerland, to get to Italy, and that took about 3 or 4 days. So, and we're just driving. We enjoyed that. And so this particular time, we just took the train, and it felt really different. Why did it feel so different? Because the lockdown had happened, and everyone's been locked down, and you suddenly feel like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? So it felt really exhilarating to actually walk down to the train station and sit down and wait for the train. And yeah, we had the usual 6 feet apart, or whatever, 6 meters apart, and you put on the face masks and all the things. Right now there's this new law now that's coming up in the UK, which is saying that it will be compulsory. At the moment, it's compulsory for public transport. You have to put on the face mask. But as you're getting into the shop, the new law's coming, you're going to have to do that. So we put that on in the train, and they have all this social distancing. But we got really good carriage, first class, and it was really good. It felt like we're in the plane. So I really, that thing goes into your spirit, where you feel like an anticipation, like something great is happening, and you're feeling so good about yourself. And I thought, this is interesting, because throughout the lockdown, I've been feeling really down. But I tell you what happened. When you're stuck in a house, which is why, all the conspiracy theorists, people like to call them, they said, what's going on with the lockdown is not healthy. Because they've come out with all these statistics now, saying what really has gone wrong with people being locked inside the house. I mean, some of my friends are like, can you imagine people in really bad relationships? So now you're stuck in the house with your husband or your wife, whom you're not getting on with, and now lockdown. So imagine how hard that must have been. But this was me, and I would say a big thank you to God, because where I was staying before, where we were living before, was really, really unhealthy. And we were not happy at all living there. But just I think it was the very day of the lockdown, we finally moved away from there. And can you imagine if we were locked up in that place? What could have happened to us? So it's like sometimes when God works in your life, you have no idea. And I'm like, I cannot believe that happened. But it happened. We had just moved out of this place, lockdown. And so we got to this better place, all airy, lovely garden, lots of parks around. I haven't walked. That's another thing coming up. We're going to be showing you these things. So Now I'm in this environment that's a lot lighter in my mind. I feel freer. I'm not heavy in my heart. But still, we took this trip and I felt so much lighter. I felt so much lighter. So a voice just came ting in my head like, oh my gosh, this is an answer to a problem. So anybody out there having all this heaviness because they're stuck in a place, this is the answer. But you know what that really gave me? I'm studying travel and tourism, and I actually enjoy traveling. So it was a perfect mix, because now I realized what I'm actually doing in that course. That I'm going to actually work with people and guide them on different ways of relieving this pain that's going on when you're stuck in one place. I know so many people who said to me they have relatives who's developed depression. And these things happen when you're continuously in one situation. In one situation. It is so easy for any of us to fall into it. Because if you're stuck in a place like the case of people who can stand each other in a relationship, and then you're having to be together by force or for whatever reason, imagine what's happening in your state of mind. So this trip exposed all of that to me. Because we're going to Newcastle. Yes, it's absolutely an amazing place. If you haven't been, it was my first experience of going there. I immediately fell in love with this city. Right from the train station, just as we arrived, it was like, wow. You know? And then I realized I needed this break. I needed to get out, I needed to feel good. But prior to this, we'd been somewhere as well, and I felt that way too. Then it all made sense. We'd been out to visit a friend who just moved into a new area as well, and the minute we got there, we again got transformed into a new environment. It's like when you get into this place, your mind just feels lifted. And what happens to the mind is suddenly feels, I have to understand its environment. I know what that does to you. You suddenly forget all that baggage, all that negativity you were thinking about, all that thing that's not working, whatever it is that's been blocking and stopping you from, thinking other thoughts disappears because you're in a new environment. And suddenly you begin to appreciate this new environment. So that happened as we got to Newcastle. And suddenly I'm seeing all this, castles, and I'm looking at all this buildings, and yes, they're still locked down, so most cities are still not back to normal, but whatever you see is still a difference from where you are. And so the answer then came being this: enjoy the simple things of life, enjoy them. And I had to come out with about 7 beautiful little tips to guide you to enjoy these simple things of life. There's that saying that the best things of life are free. That's similar to what I'm trying to say here. These simple things of life, they're fun. Okay, so we said the simple things of life are free. And I've come up with the 7 little tips that I think may contribute to helping us ease our mind a lot more. So number 1 is go to a posh restaurant or go to a posh hotel reception. Just sit down there, look for the cheapest drink on the menu. Buy that. Relax in a corner and just enjoy your drink for a really long time. Now, why is this so important? You are in a new environment. Sometimes they play really beautiful music. Very relaxing. And then what's going on? Sometimes they have free Wi-Fi for you. So this is one of the things I did when I was in my previous city. We were living right next to a lovely little hotel that had really, really lovely reception. And so what I do is I just take myself there when I feel really bogged down. And I go there and just order the nice drink, simple drink. Go with my laptop, go with my phone. And I just carry on with my work, whatever I needed to do. But what have I gained? I'm in a beautiful environment. I'm seeing people come and go. And I'm busy with my thing, listening to lovely music. What else could you be looking for? And the same goes for a restaurant as well. So if this hotel is nowhere near where you really live, you could just take a bus and get there. You could take a taxi and get there. So it does not need you to break the bank for you to have a simple drink in a hotel or a nice reception or a beautiful restaurant. Because the thing is, when you happen to be around people who are exciting or inspiring, you find that your mood gets lifted too. But if you just sit in a place all by yourself, stuck in a room, staring at one wall, what do you think will happen to your mind? Because your mind is where everything starts from. And this is one area that this channel is really hammering and working on. How do we work on your mind so you become a lot lighter and become freer to carry on with your life? And one of the things I say to my kids is, God gave us eyes in our front for a reason. Because He didn't want us to see what's happening, behind us. Most of us have this habit of going into ourselves to dig up something that happened 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when I was 2 years old, when I was 4, when I was 10. This is what happened to me. And the way this, the subconscious mind works is, just as you're narrating that story, just like you're remembering everything that happened, it will sound as if it's happening now. And then people then have the habit, this is what the subconscious mind does. You then have the habit of, because your mind is connected with it, you can then burst into tears. And you burst into tears, what do you think happened? You're back in that time. And your emotions are falling with it. Suddenly, you don't feel good anymore. That's what happens to us when all we want to do is live in the past. There's that book called The Power of Now. What we should be doing is focusing on now. What are we experiencing now? How can we make now better? And then walk into the future. What can we do with now so that future will be better? And there's a saying that, whatever you're doing today is preparing you for your tomorrow. So why are we not making that effort to make today better, such that tomorrow will be better even? Or more, much more better. So little things like going out and, being in a beautiful environment, interacting with other people, creates all of that. If you're one of, now we live in a digital world, so you enjoy the selfies, you have the Instagram accounts and, the Facebook accounts. You take your phone, you selfie yourself with the background, and you can post them. And it gives you that lightheartedness, that instant boost of pleasure, of happiness. Look at me, I look good. How much does it cost to get makeup? You could buy one of the least ones and just make an effort to take care of your own self. I get people go, oh yeah, your skin has been changing. Since you started the channel, you change your looks. And yeah, because I am human. And you know one thing about life? We are meant to get better, not get worse. And there are people who want to just by the day, or not making improvement in themselves, then what is the point of life? You're meant to learn from what's happening around you. I mean, look at technology. Every day there's a new technology happening. Oh no, but you as a human, you should remain in the past. I don't do past. I do present and I do future. So if something's happening around me, I'm not going to go, no, I'm not going to get involved with that. Okay, yes, I hold my hands up there. Some technology that I really say, now this one, I say no. And whenever it involves money, I say no, because there are fraudsters everywhere. I mean, you don't want to know how many people send us messages every day on our Instagram page, on our Facebook page. And I've had the experience on Messenger where people actually threw some virus on my account, and I had to call Facebook and I had to send a picture of my passport. So it's crazy. But there are some technology that's good for you. If it requires you improving yourself, please do that. And that's why there are books to help you empower yourself. That's why the focus of this channel is to empower you. And empowerment comes from every sector of your life. Starting from your mind. Your mind, your physical body, your emotional thinking, your spiritual thinking, everything adds up. So whatever I experience, I share them with you. When I'm in Lagos, I also enjoy that. There are some posh hotels too in Lagos. You go there, you sit down, you buy the cheapest drink, you just relax and, practically experience the environment. Inhale it. Live it. That's what makes life. So that's tip number one. And I said go to a restaurant as well. And it's the same thing that applies to restaurant or hotel. Whichever one makes you happy, go for it. Number two is look out for swimming areas. Again, I personally enjoy anything with nature. So swimming, it could be a swimming pool. Most hotels have swimming pools. Posh hotels have swimming pools. Sometimes if you don't stay in that, if you're not a resident of the hotel, then you have to pay to use the swimming pool. That's fine. They don't cost crazy money. You go there and enjoy a swim. Some of them have saunas. You go there and relax in the sauna. And then of course, like in the West here, most local councils have the leisure centers. Those ones are amazing. You could either become a member of the leisure center or you pay the day you want to go there. I go there with my kids most times. Just that with Corona, things have been upside down and so we've not been able to really go anywhere. But that's the story I was telling you about when I went to Newcastle. Because any opportunity for you to go out, just go out. Leave the confines of your living space, your home, your bedroom, your living room. Come out of that. Go out and enjoy the sun. Go out and enjoy fresh air. Your lungs need it. And so, leisure centers, most times they have sports activities as well. Like lawn tennis and table tennis and all types of activities. I mean, where I live right now, my son bought himself a basketball, and then there's a basketball court. I go there and I shoot the ball. For me, it's fun. In the park where I was going there to have little runs, I need that air in my lungs. That's what God wants from us. And each time you have to actively get involved with things like that, it helps you, your mental state of health. That distraction, that doing something different. I actually enjoy taking walks. Because whenever I'm out there walking, I will see things that are not normal for me, what my eyes hasn't seen before. And so if I see people walking around, maybe someone holding a child, maybe someone holding a bag, maybe someone driving past, my attention goes there. And suddenly, whatever it was that was engaging my thoughts the whole day disappears. That new activity goes into my mind, goes into my head, and I'm thinking, oh, look at that. locked up in myself. Number 3 is go to the park or go to the woods. I just talked about the parks and the woods. Nobody charges you for going to the park. I mean, in London, that's another city with loads and loads of parks. You may say, okay, yeah, you guys who live in the West, oh, lucky you got parks. I know, that happens. But I don't know if most of us African countries have ever found or understood the value of these open spaces. And you see, this is why when I tend to pick up Africa as my, a case study, I will call it, people look at me like, why do you always have a way of bringing that? I love to bring Africa into these discussions all the time because for me there's a problem and it needs to be solved. I mean, this particular week there's this crazy story going on in Nigeria where these politicians were given this crazy amount of money in trillions to go and develop things and contribute or do things for the community, and each individual were paid 1 point something billion naira per one person. All the contracts were given to members of this committee and the job was never done. And people are still suffering and starving and killing each other because obviously when there is no job, what happens? People get angry with each other. Whoever has, they want to destroy. That's why Africa is my issue. Because here I can talk about, going around in a park and walking and enjoying the fresh. The park where we live, every dog owners come there and their dogs are running around and feeling so good and so happy. Owners are running with the dog. That's how life is meant to be. It's free. But of course, if you live here, I'm telling you, there are people who live in the West and have never known where the park is, especially us Africans. Because we don't see need for that. We think life is all about locking yourself in the door, open your door and you walk in and you start cooking and you start eating, and that's not life. You need to relax. Go out for a walk. Go to the park. Go to the woods. Like now, where I live, there are woods and parks and farms everywhere. And I just enjoy doing that. The other day, I went out with my daughter. It took us 1 hour into the woods. 1 hour. And we were coming across all types of fruit trees and apples and, berries and all kinds of things. We were seeing rabbits running around. That is fun. It does not cost any money to do that. And that's what I'm saying here. Enjoy the simple things of life. Because when you start doing that more and more often, what you're going to find is your state of mind becomes a lot freer. Because trust me, there is none of us who have been... You hear people, everyone thinks their problem is the worst in the world. Everyone thinks so. And there's something I read that they say, oh, you look at me and you think I don't have problem. I do, but I wear mine well. So, because you're actually engaging your mind in more activities and doing more things that are positive, doesn't mean you don't have problems. That's what this video is about. It's about telling you things you can do that takes your mind away from those problems. Life itself is a school. I call it a school of problems. And what happens, the more and more you get into personal development, it says it's not lack of problem that makes people grow. It's just people who have learned to overcome their problems. It's people who have learned to see problems as challenges that they are meant to overcome. So, I'm just giving you little tips that I know has been helping me. And it can help you too. Because this thing they call depression is real. This thing they call mental problem is very real. people realize this, especially with the lockdown. When we realized that we were locked in and that was it. So tip number 3 is go to the park. We've talked about the park, which was 3. Number 4, one of my favorites, go to the library. Go to the library. It's one of the first things I look out for once I get into a city. And I've talked about this young man over and over, Louis L'Amour. He was only 15 when he realized his parents couldn't afford school fees. So he decided he wasn't going to school anymore. And he decided to start traveling. But of course, it's the type of travel I've talked about here. I don't know if I mentioned it. It is so easy to travel. It's one of the things I'm coming up with that. I think I mentioned it in the beginning of this video when I'm talking about my connection with my traveling, my course, travel and tourism. And I'm going to be in that position now where I'm going to support people to find that traveling actually allows you to live again. What that young man did was he then started traveling. And what he did was wherever he went, he was collating every information, every experience. And what he used to do was every city he gets into, the first thing he does is look for a library. And so he's reading about that city, gets to know this, talks about it, started writing books about all his experiences with traveling. And he became a millionaire and became so rich from sharing his experiences of traveling. So going to the library where you see all types of books, you know, there's something they call the new education is self-education. That's what they call it. Because people have realized now, actually there's a book I was reading recently, it's a video I shared on my Instagram page, where this man is explaining that it's been there anyway. Everybody's talking about it. Most people in personal development, that's the thing they're really, really sharing with people. It's not so much the academic education you're picking up that's going to make your life great. What academic education does to us is it just gives us exposure. It gives us information. But that information is down to you how you translate it into your personal use. Going to study all of these things does not automatically make you an extrovert if you are naturally an introvert. It doesn't automatically give you skills that you never had, and so look at me, I've got these amazing skills. But see, reality with skills is guaranteed. Someone wants something, someone will want that knowledge you have. Could you make me an earring? Could you make my hair? Could you sew my clothes? Could you make my shoes? Those are practical skills. But academic skills are things in your head, things you're thinking about. And so you may think all you like, and people may not come to you and say, can I take that thought in your head? And people don't come to you and say, I want that thought in your head. But people will come to you and say, I want that earring. I want that hairstyle. So for me, practical skill is guaranteed giving you something. Well, academic skill, you have to find a way to convert that knowledge into something that people want. And until people want it, there's no exchange of something, which is money. And so if you're thinking, I want to make money, it's not in the academic education you pile on that will put that money in your hands. That's my reality. That's my understanding. You may say it differently. And it's one of the things coming back to Africa again that I'm questioning. You know, here I said question everything. I'm questioning. We Africans make a big deal of going to university. We must. And we do it with all our children. You are going to study this and you are going to study. And we are also educated, and yet our continent is so messed up. So what's going on? Is the academic education not supporting our thinking to the point that we feel our continent should be better? While the rest of the world, UK in particular, I have seen it with my own eyes. Most of the typical English children have no interest of going to no university. Absolutely none. And yet the country is growing by the day. Ideas are coming up. Innovations are done. New things are happening. Infrastructure is in place. We can go to the park and relax. We can take our dog and have a lovely stroll down the... But you cannot do that in Nigeria. So I'm still wondering, what is the correlationship between academic education and lack of progress? I need to find that out, but it's one of the biggest questions I ask every day. Somebody needs to tell me why we go to school and we're not improving our life. And why everything just stays in our head and we don't practice what we learn. Okay, that's a topic for another day. So try and go and read and self-educate. That's why I came up with that. The self-education now, the value and the beauty of self-education is you know what you want to understand. You know what interests you. You know what inspires you. You know what you're looking for. And I give you an example. I do buy a lot of books on personal development. It's my interest. And so I read them. Okay, so I'm studying travel and tourism. Again, I have interest in that. So I'm happy to read them. But you're not going to see me go and buy books on, what can I think of? Maybe English book. Oh, past tense and present tense and future tense. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go buy books on, I may buy books on geography because yes, I love traveling. So I want to know where this country is and where that country is and which one is nearer to which one. I may wonder. But okay, I'm also interested in history. So I bought quite a bit of books on history. And why is that? When the whole George Floyd death happened and racism issues came up again to the fore, and now all of us are beginning to wonder what is going on. My personal take was, I want to know what this nonsense is about. Superior and inferior race. I want to go back into history and find out at what stage did these different races believe that they were better and what happened with the various races. So I was curious and I started buying history books and I found the answer. I found the answer was at the point when the rest of the world were growing into science and technology and innovating new things, we Africans were still behind. And till today, we are still behind. Hence that question I just asked now. What's academic education got to do with what's happening to us? So I was curious about history. So you see how when you are curious about something and you read up on that thing, you find the answer to that thing. So that's what self-education is about. I didn't have to go to school and say, you know what, I want to actually go and study history now. I want to spend 4 years studying history of the world. I didn't do that. So self-education puts you in a position where you start finding out answers to what you want to know. And that's why going to the library is going to help you. And you know why? Because the books in the library are free. You don't have to put money down to read book in the library. When I was doing my school exams and my assignments in the city we just came from, I practically loved going to library every day. And why was it so exciting for me? That library was practically state of the art. It's one of the best libraries I've had to deal with. And why was it so great? It was actually affiliated to the university in the town. So they had to, equip it and update it. And there were books that were in my university, that were recommended. And my university didn't have it. And that university had it. Up to the latest version. I took pictures and I was so amazed. And so I just loved being there. It was so beautiful, like I enjoy buildings with glass windows that are so wide, and you're inside but you think you're outside. That's my kind of building, and that library had all of that. And so it felt so good being there. We're still talking about the state of mind. So when I went there, I felt at home. So try and do that. Try and find things that lift your spirit up, things that connect with you, things that make you feel good. State of mind. Remember what I talk about here? I said protect your mess, your mental, your emotional, your spiritual. They all need each other to guide you through this life. So library, important. That's number 4. Number 5 is go to the mall. Window shop. Try on clothes. Try on shoes. Carry a handbag, look at it. Oh, the things I enjoy doing, you'll be surprised, it's the kind of simple things I enjoy doing that make me feel so good. So, for instance, today I went out to town and we just kept going from one mall to the other. House of Fraser, Debenhams, John Lewis. And what do you find in these big malls? It's an array of products. And so, one of the things I really enjoy doing is what I call window shopping. Okay, not just me, everybody calls it window shopping. What is window shopping? You look at it, you love it, but you're not buying it now. Why are you not buying it now? Okay, man, I didn't know how much it was going to cost. I wasn't planning to buy anything, but I want to see what there are in the shops so that when I'm ready to buy them, I know where they are. That's window shopping. And so once you put that in your state of mind and say, I actually loved one dress I saw in the shop. I may go and buy that the next 2 weeks, or in the next 2 days, or at the end of the month when I get paid. You find that it lifts you up, it makes you feel good. You go into okay, at the moment because of the lockdown, you really couldn't go and try out the clothes. But at least you see them. And you see different things. One of the sections I love going to is the perfume section. And so I see all the array of the tested perfumes, and so you can just take them and you try them on and you smell them and you feel good. Does that cost any money? No. That's why I said the simple things that make life interesting. Do them. Do them. You will find that you don't feel that heavy anymore. You don't feel that heavy anymore. You feel really light when you come out. No one's standing at that door and say, you can't come in until you promise you're going to buy something. It's an open mall. There's no price. There's no ticket at the door to the mall. It's free. Walk in, have fun, look around, and then just go into one of the restaurants there and eat something simple. And that gives you energy and your day is done. And you get home and you sleep well. You have sweet dreams. So that's number 5. Number 6 is go to the train station, go to the coach station, go to the airport, walk around, just to be happy. I mean, some airports, until you're at the point of departure, nobody stops you. There are still shops that you can walk around and feel good with. I know, for instance, if you were to go to Nigeria, at the door you're not allowed in at all. Because of course, most of the time, the people are like touts. And once they see people traveling, they want to sell all kinds of things to you or whatever. But most places I know in the world, airports are open. Only at the point where you have to show your ticket to prove that you are actually getting on a flight. That's when they start, having security and all of that. Otherwise, the rest of the airport, just walk around and feel free. Just sit down there again, do your selfie, whatever. Again, airports, they have free Wi-Fi. Just enjoy being alive. And the same thing with the coach stations. I mean, the other day, I find these things quite interesting. Um, in my unit, so we had to go on this. I would love to call it a school trip, but it was like a group trip, and I find it so exciting because again, I love traveling, and so we all had to take a coach to travel, and it was so exciting for me. When I got to the coach station, they had seats like you are at the airport. And I was so excited. I was relaxed and I was just sitting down there and waiting until our coach was called. And the coaches are like you're sitting in the plane. And you know the beauty of going by coach? They are very cheap. Okay, so you're going to sit there for hours, depending on how far your trip is. But what's the rush? You're here to have fun. I know people who say, oh, they cannot sit in one place for more than 2 hours. Okay, find another way to be happy. But for me, that makes me happy. It makes me happy just being in an airport, being at a coach station, being at a train station. That's why we just took this trip to Newcastle. Just being there. That anticipation of I'm going to a new place and I don't know what it's going to look like. It's so exciting. I feel good. Number 7, I think we're getting to the end. Take cheap trips. Cheap trips. And so we have all these usual, what do they call them? No frills, no trills tickets. And then of course there's the coaches and then there are the trains. Because remember number 6 was just go to these stations and just relax and sit down and maybe sip a drink as well, or carry a book, or take your phone and check all your messages or whatever. But number 7 is actually travel by this means of transportation. Take a coach to somewhere. Take a train to somewhere, just like we did to Newcastle. Take a no frills, no trills a plane ride to somewhere. Just go. Now, this is a trick to when you travel to a place. Do your own research online. And the things you could do would be the exciting things to see in Newcastle. Tourist things to see in Newcastle. Fun places to see in Newcastle. Whatever computations you put in your web search, do it and it will come up with things. And then you write it down. These are the things I must see when I go to Newcastle, when I go to London, when I go to New York, when I go to Amsterdam, whatever. Not those things. So this begins your journey. This starts your trip. Because I'm going to be coming up with more and more tips on how to have fun when you travel. That was number 7. So I'm going to stop it here today on this one. But one thing I want you to really remember is life doesn't have to be expensive to be fun. Life doesn't have to be expensive to be fun. And the more you can allow yourself to enjoy life, the happier a human being you're going to be. The less stressed you're going to be. The more you can take control of your mess. Your mess being your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health. Because if you don't protect your mess, you will be messed up. Why? Because these things will turn around and hurt you. So I'm hoping I've contributed something to you today. I'll be very happy to hear from you the kind of things, which of these tips actually worked for you, which of these tips you've tried. Share it with us. And remember to follow us on Instagram, Joy Fido. I do quite a bit of personal development there. I put short videos, I put little things that you read and it really brings messages to you. I do the same on Facebook, Joy Fido. Take the notification bell so that whenever we come up with something, you get to know about it. And please share with your friends. We want you to work with us and we are so excited that you are part of us. We look forward to seeing you in the next video, and God bless you.